Success has no age. Success has no deadline. Success has no expiration date. And if you don't believe that, let me introduce you to a woman who turned tragedy into triumph. Muniba Mazari. Ladies and gentlemen, life will test you. It will shake you. It will break you. But it is not what happens to you that defines you. It is what you decide to become after it happens. Muniba Mazari was only 21 years old when a devastating car accident changed her life forever. A spinal cord injury, multiple surgeries, doctors telling her she may never walk again. Imagine that moment. Imagine hearing words that could crush your dreams. Many people would surrender. Many people would say, "Why me?" But she chose a different question. What now? And that question changed everything. Education begins with perspective. When something painful happens, we have two options. We become victims of our story, or we become authors of a new chapter. Muniba chose to become the author. She did not allow a wheelchair to define her abilities. She educated herself, not only academically, but emotionally. She understood that the mind is stronger than the body. She realized that success is not about how fast you run. It is about how strong you rise. It is about how strong you rise. Let me teach you something important. Success is not measured by age. Some people become successful at 20, some at 40, some at 70, and some never succeed. Not because they are too old, but because they stop believing. Muniba became Pakistan's first wheelchair-bound model. She became a UN Women Ambassador. She became a powerful voice on global stages, not because she was lucky, not because life was easy, but because she refused to let pain educate her in fear. She allowed pain to educate her in strength. Success has no age because growth has no age. Learning has no age. Reinvention has no age. Reinvention has no age. Reinvention has no age. You may be 18 and feel behind. You may be 35 and feel lost. You may be 50 and think it is too late. Let me tell you, as long as you breathe, you can build. Education is not only about degrees. It is about understanding that every difficulty is a classroom. Every failure is a lesson. Every rejection is rejection. Muniba once said she was once broken, but she learned that broken crayons still color. What a powerful lesson. You may feel broken, but you can still create beauty. You can still inspire. You can still succeed. So, do not ask, "Am I too young?" Do not ask, "Am I too old?" Ask instead, "Am I willing?" Because success belongs to the willing. Success belongs to the persistent. Success belongs to those who transform pain into purpose. And remember this, your age is just a number, but your courage. That is your real power. If Muniba Mazari can rise from a hospital bed to global stages, then what excuse do we have? To global stages, then what excuse do we have? To global. Success has no age. It has only attitude. Listen to me carefully. Where you were born does not decide how far you will go. The money in your bank account does not decide the value in your mind. The mistakes you made at 16, 25, or 40 do not decide who you are capable of becoming. Stop giving your past so much authority over your future. Look at the life of Muniba Mazari. A tragic accident placed her in a wheelchair. Doctors gave her limitations. Society gave her sympathy. Some people probably gave her silent doubts. Some people probably gave her silent doubts. But she refused to let a moment of tragedy become a life sentence of mediocrity. She understood something powerful. Circumstances are temporary, but mindset is permanent unless you choose to change it. You must understand this educational truth. Circumstances are conditions, not conclusions. They are situations, not identities. If you grow up in difficulty, that is your starting point, not your final destination. If you fail an exam, that is feedback, not a forecast. If someone rejects you, that is redirection, not definition. Stop introducing yourself through your struggles. I am from a poor family. I failed before. I don't have connections. No. Introduce yourself through your potential. Say, I am learning. Say, I am growing. Say, I am building. Your language educates your brain, and your brain directs your future. Let me tell you something with power. Destiny is shaped by decisions, not conditions. The environment may influence you, but it does not imprison you, unless you allow it. There are people who had everything and became nothing because they were comfortable. And there are people who had nothing and built everything because they were hungry. Your pain can either paralyze you or prepare you. Your rejection can either reduce you or refine you. Your setbacks can either stop you or strengthen you. But that choice is yours, always yours. Education teaches us that growth happens under pressure. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Muscles grow under resistance. Character is built through adversity. So when life presses you, do not panic. Analyze, learn, adjust, grow. Do not say, why is this happening to me? Say, what is this teaching me? Say, what is this teaching me? That single shift in thinking transforms victims into leaders. Maybe your family does not understand your dreams. Maybe your friends are moving ahead faster. Maybe you feel behind in life. But remember, timing is different for everyone. Your journey is unique. Comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10 is ignorance, not wisdom. You are not your background. You are not your trauma. You are not your financial situation. You are not your physical limitation. You are the decisions you make from this moment forward. Stand up mentally. Take responsibility. Take ownership. Say, yes, this is my reality, but this is not my destiny. And then work. Learn new skills. Improve your attitude. Surround yourself with growth. Discipline your emotions. Control your focus. Circumstances test you. They do not define you. The moment you stop blaming and start building, you take back your power. And when you take back your power, destiny begins to change in your favor. Pain can become your greatest teacher if you stop running from it and start listening to it. Yes, I said listening to it. Yes, I said listening. Because pain speaks. It whispers lessons at first. And if you ignore it, it starts to scream. The problem is not pain itself. The problem is not pain itself. The problem is that most people waste it. They suffer, but they do not study their suffering. They cry, but they do not grow. Look at the powerful example of Muniba Mazari. After her accident, she could have allowed bitterness to take control. She could have asked, why did this happen to me? She could have closed herself off from the world. But instead, she turned her hospital room into a classroom. She allowed pain to educate her. She allowed it to teach her patience, resilience, gratitude, and perspective. Let me tell you something with force. Comfort teaches you very little. When everything is easy, you relax. When everything is smooth, you become passive. But when life shakes you, when disappointment hits you, when betrayal breaks your heart, when failure humiliates you, that is when real education begins. Pain teaches you who truly stands beside you. Pain teaches you what truly matters. Pain teaches you how strong you actually are. Many people do not know their capacity because they have never been tested. The test reveals the strength. But listen carefully. Pain only becomes a teacher if you decide to reflect. Otherwise, it becomes a prison. You must ask powerful questions. What can I learn from this? How can this shape me? What must I change? These questions transform suffering into wisdom. Do not waste your heartbreak. Do not waste your failure. Do not waste your rejection. Every difficult moment carries a lesson wrapped in discomfort. Open it. Study it. Extract the message. When you fail, pain teaches preparation. When you lose, pain teaches humility. When you are betrayed, pain teaches discernment. When you are criticized, pain teaches emotional control. If you pay attention, you graduate to a higher version of yourself. And understand this clearly. Avoiding pain delays growth. Facing pain accelerates it. You cannot become emotionally intelligent without emotional challenges. You cannot develop patience without waiting. You cannot build courage without fear. Muniba did not become strong because life was kind to her. She became strong because she decided her pain would not define her negatively. It would refine her positively. That is a decision, and you must make the same one. Do not numb your pain with distractions. Do not silence it with excuses. Sit with it. Reflect on it. Let it show you your weaknesses so you can transform them into strengths. Pain is not your enemy. It is your instructor. It is uncomfortable. Yes, it is heavy. Yes, but it is honest. It shows you where you need to grow. And one more powerful truth. When you learn from your pain, you gain authority. You can speak with conviction. You can inspire with authenticity. People listen to those who have survived something. Your scars become proof of your education. So the next time life hurts you, do not collapse. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself what lesson is hidden inside that struggle. Because if you allow it, pain will shape you into someone wiser, stronger, and unshakable. Self-acceptance is the first step to greatness. And listen to this carefully. If you cannot accept yourself, you will spend your entire life trying to be someone else. And there is nothing more exhausting than living as a copy when you were born an original. Many people are not failing because they lack talent. They are failing because they are fighting themselves. They are at war with their appearance, their past, their body, their voice, their story. Look at Muniba Mazari. After her accident, she had every reason to reject her new reality. A wheelchair, scars, physical limitations, society's pity. Imagine the emotional battle. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing a life that changed in a second. But instead of hating her reflection, she embraced it. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" she declared, "This is me, and I am enough." That is power. That is education at the highest level. Emotional education. You cannot build confidence on rejection of yourself. You cannot reach greatness while secretly believing you are not worthy. Self-acceptance does not mean you stop improving. No, it means you stop insulting yourself while improving. How many times have you compared yourself? I am not tall enough. I am not smart enough. I am not rich enough. Stop it. Comparison is the fastest way to destroy your self-worth. You are measuring your behind the scenes against someone else's highlight reel. That is not elegant thinking. That is emotional sabotage. Self-acceptance begins with responsibility. You look at your strengths and you own them. You look at your weaknesses and you work on them. Without shame, without drama. You say, "Yes, this is my starting point, and I will grow from here." Muniba did not wait to be perfect to show herself to the world. She became Pakistan's first wheelchair-bound model because she refused to hide. She showed her scars. She showed her chair. She showed her truth. And that authenticity became her greatness. You must understand something powerful. People connect with authenticity, not perfection. Perfection intimidates. Authenticity inspires. When you accept yourself, you give others permission to accept themselves. Stop apologizing for who you are. Stop shrinking your voice. Stop hiding your dreams because you are afraid of judgment. Judgment will come anyway. So why not be bold? Self-acceptance is a decision. It is you standing in front of the mirror and saying, "I may not be flawless, but I am valuable." It is you acknowledging your past mistakes and saying, "They taught me. They did not define me." It is you embracing your uniqueness instead of trying to dilute it. And here is the educational truth. Confidence grows from acceptance. When you accept yourself, you stop wasting energy, pretending. That energy becomes focus. That focus becomes progress. That progress becomes success. Greatness begins the moment you stop fighting your identity and start building from it. You are not required to be like anyone else. You are required to maximize who you are. So accept your story. Accept your body. Accept your journey. Then improve, grow, discipline yourself. But from a place of self-respect, not self-hate, because the foundation of every strong building is stability, and the foundation of every great life is self-acceptance. Success is about purpose, not age. And I want you to erase this dangerous belief from your mind. that there is a right time to begin. Who told you that dreams have an expiration date? Who convinced you that if you haven't made it by 25, you are late? Or that if you are 40 and starting again, you are behind? That is not wisdom. That is social pressure disguised as logic. Look at the life of Muniba Mazari. Her life changed at 21. Because of a tragic accident, many would have said, "My future is finished." But instead of focusing on her age, she focused on her purpose. She asked herself, "Why am I still alive? What can I contribute?" And that question gave her direction. Not her age, not her circumstances, her purpose. Let me teach you something clearly. Age measures time, but purpose measures impact. You can be young and completely lost. You can be older and just discovering your calling. There are people who achieve success early and feel empty because they chased applause instead of purpose. And there are people who find their mission later and feel fulfilled because they are aligned with meaning. Purpose gives you energy that age cannot limit. When you wake up with a reason, you move differently. You speak differently. You endure differently. You endure differently. When you know why you are doing something, you stop complaining about how long it takes. Some of you are anxious because your friends are moving fast. Someone is getting married. Someone is buying a house. Someone is building a business. And you feel pressure. But listen carefully. Their timeline is not your assignment. You are not in competition with their clock. You are in responsibility for your calling. Muniba did not rush to prove herself. She developed herself. She used her story to inspire others. She stepped into modeling, public speaking, and humanitarian work because she understood her message mattered. That is purpose. It is not about speed. It is about significance. Success without purpose feels heavy. Success with purpose feels powerful. When your work helps others, when your struggle becomes someone else's motivation, when your journey creates value, that is real success. Stop asking, "Am I too young?" Stop asking, "Am I too old?" Ask instead, "Am I clear about my purpose?" Because clarity eliminates insecurity. When you know why you are doing something, criticism becomes background noise. Doubt becomes temporary. Obstacles become training. And understand this, purpose evolves. What you wanted at the 18th of May not be what fulfills you at 35. That is not failure. That is growth. Allow yourself to discover. Allow yourself to pivot. Education is a lifelong process. Reinvention is not weakness. It is wisdom. Do not rush your development just to impress people who are not living your life. Build skills. Build character. Build discipline. Let your foundation be strong. When your purpose is clear and your preparation is serious, success becomes sustainable. Time will pass anyway. The question is not how old you are. The question is whether you are moving with intention. Because when you live with purpose, every year adds value, every challenge adds strength, and every step adds meaning to your journey. Education of the mind creates freedom of the soul. Understand this deeply. The greatest prison is not made of iron bars. It is made of limiting belief. It is made of limiting beliefs. It is made of fear, insecurity, ignorance, and negative self-talk. You can be physically restricted and still mentally free. And you can be physically free yet mentally trapped. The difference is education. Not just academic education, but emotional, psychological, and spiritual education. Look at Muniba Mazari. Her body faced limitations after her accident, but she refused to let her mind become limited. She educated herself. She developed her thoughts. She changed her internal dialogue. And because she trained her mind, her spirit became unbreakable. That is real freedom. Many people are educated with degrees but are still prisoners of doubt. They have certificates on the wall, but insecurity in the heart. Why? Because they studied subjects, but they never studied themselves. True education teaches you how to think, not what to think. It teaches you how to respond, not how to react. If you do not control your mind will control you. And an undisciplined mind creates unnecessary suffering. It exaggerates problems. It predicts failure. It compares constantly. It criticizes mercilessly. You must train it. You must challenge negative thoughts. You must replace "I can't" with "How can I?" You must replace "Why me?" with "What now?" That is mental education. Read books that stretch your perspective. Listen to voices that elevate your thinking. Surround yourself with conversations that challenge your excuses. Feed your brain quality information. Because what you consume mentally becomes your internal language. Because what you consume mentally becomes your internal language. And your internal language shapes your reality. Freedom of the soul comes when you are no longer controlled by external opinions. When someone criticizes you, you evaluate it calmly instead of collapsing emotionally. When someone doubts you, you analyze it instead of absorbing it. That is strength. That is maturity. Muniba did not allow society's pity to become her identity. She did not allow society's pity to become her identity. She did not allow stereotypes to dictate her worth. She understood something powerful. If she believed in herself, no external label could imprison her. That belief came from mental discipline. That belief came from mental discipline. Education of the mind also means emotional intelligence. It means understanding your triggers. It means recognizing when anger is rising and choosing control. It means forgiving, not because others deserve it, but because you deserve peace. A free soul is not burdened by constant resentment. And listen carefully. Your mind needs daily training just like your body. You cannot expect confidence if you constantly repeat negative thoughts. You cannot expect courage if you constantly imagine failure. Discipline your focus. Choose what you think about. Direct your attention toward growth. Choose what you think about. Direct your attention toward growth. The moment you master your thoughts, you master your reactions. The moment you master your reactions, the moment you master your reactions, you master your direction. And when your direction is intentional, your soul feels light. True freedom is not about where you stand physically. It is about how you stand mentally. When your mind is educated, no circumstance can imprison your spirit, no opinion can define your worth, and no obstacle can steal your inner peace. Turn your story into someone else's hope. Listen to me carefully. Your experiences are not accidents. They are assignments. The struggles you survived, the tears you cried, the tears you cried, the battles you fought in silence. They are not meant to be buried. They are meant to be shared with wisdom. Because somebody, somewhere, is praying for the strength you already have. So many people hide their stories out of shame. What will people think? What if they judge me? But understand this powerful truth. What you are ashamed of today may be the very testimony that saves someone tomorrow. Your vulnerability is not weakness. It is leadership. Look at Muniba Mazari. She could have chosen privacy. She could have chosen silence. She could have said, "This pain is mine, and I will keep it to myself." She could have said, "This pain is mine, and I will keep it to myself." But instead, she stepped onto stages and spoke about her scars. She showed the world her wheelchair without embarrassment. She transformed her trauma into testimony. And because she did, thousands of people who felt broken suddenly felt seen. That is power. That is purpose in action. You must understand when you share your story. With honesty, you give others permission to breathe. The young person who failed an exam needs to hear from someone who failed and rose again. The woman who feels insecure needs to hear from someone who learned self-acceptance. The man who feels lost needs to hear from someone who rebuilt from zero. But listen carefully. Turning your story into hope requires responsibility. Do not share from an open wound. Share from a healed scar. Learn the lesson first. Extract the wisdom. Transform the pain into clarity. Then speak. Because when you speak from growth, your words carry authority. Your story has educational value. It teaches resilience. It teaches patience. It teaches patience. It teaches patience. It teaches faith. It teaches discipline. Do not underestimate its impact. You may think it's nothing special, but what feels ordinary to you can be extraordinary to someone else who is drowning in doubt. Stop waiting until you are perfect to inspire. Perfection is not required. Authenticity is. People do not connect with flawless lives. They connect with real journeys. They connect with honesty. They connect with courage. And let me challenge you. If you survived something difficult, it is no longer just about you. Survival gives you responsibility. You are evidence that overcoming is possible. Why would you hide that evidence for X? When you speak, speak with humility. Speak with truth. Speak with the intention to uplift, not to impress. Your story is not for applause. It is for impact. The goal is not attention. The goal is transformation. And remember this. The moment you use your pain to lift others, your pain loses its power over you. It no longer controls you. It empowers you. It no longer defines your weakness. It highlights your strength. You are not just living for yourself. You are living as an example. Every challenge you conquer becomes a light for someone walking in darkness. Do not waste your experiences. Do not silence your growth. Turn your journey into a bridge so others can cross their storms with courage and belief.